Hello, I'm Reema Chandra and welcome to Cooking Without Boundaries. Cooking without boundaries to me means breaking out of many boundaries, whether it's cuisine, culture, or simple ones like recipes, ingredients, and skills. Creating conversations, sharing and nurturing my passion, and hoping to inspire you is what Cooking Without Boundaries means to me. Hi, and it is so good to be with you again. Today, in this episode of Cooking Without Boundaries, I have picked up something very common that most of us will have in our own kitchen, in our own refrigerator. And that ingredient is the egg. So we eat egg in many ways, and most of the time for breakfast. Today I thought, why don't we come out of that boundary and try to make a few dishes using eggs that we could eat for breakfast or lunch or dinner. As we go along, I'll be talking about nutritional value of eggs and what all we can, the fun facts of eggs, etc. Today I have white eggs, and just so you know, the white-shelled eggs are produced by hens with white feathers, and so they are white. And the brown eggs, I didn't have it, so I'm not showing it here, but you must have seen it. Brown eggs are produced by hens with red feathers. So that's why the color brown comes. Nutritional value, there is no difference between the two eggs. So whichever one you have in your fridge, just use them. So cooking with eggs, and that too without any boundaries, I thought, why don't we make something very simple and quick and easy and with ingredients that we have already at home. And so the dishes that we're going to make today are, first one is popularly known as a Spanish tortilla. It's essentially an omelette with potatoes in it. I'm putting a twist to it, and that would be adding spinach to it. So I'm calling it Spanish tortilla without boundaries. And we'll go on to making eggs in gravy served over sliced bread. That could be a dinner kind of dish. And we'll make eggs and capsicum soup. Capsicum is another name for pepper, green, red, you name it. I didn't want to specify green, red, etc., so I'm calling it capsicum. So eggs and capsicum soup. And lastly, we'll finish it off with veggie stir fry with eggs. So let's get started with cooking. Spanish tortilla without boundaries. Two-step process. First, we will saute some potatoes and onions together. Then we will take the cooked potatoes and mix in with beaten eggs and make an omelette out of it. So very simple but two-step. So let's saute some potato first. 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Coat the pan. And we'll do, this is half cup. And we'll do half cup of sliced onion and 1 cup of sliced potatoes. Now I had sliced potatoes earlier today, but I kept it in water because I didn't want them getting black, oxidizing with the air. And so it's a good idea to keep them submerged in water to keep them looking clean and nice and fresh. So this is going to cook just like we make stir fry kind of potatoes, but potato has to be cooked. So it'll take about 10 to 12 minutes, maybe 15. We'll pinch a potato between 2 fingers and see if it is cooked. We should cover the pot with lid so that cooking speeds up. And it'll take probably 10 minutes. We will check in about 5 minutes to see how it is going. It's been 5 minutes, so let's check how it is going. this is what it looks like. I'll show you, and it's almost done. And another, I think I can cut through potato pieces, so that means it is almost cooked. I will leave it, just to make sure that it is very well cooked, I will leave it for another 2 minutes covered, and then we'll switch off the stove and move on to the next step. Potatoes are ready to be mixed in with the beaten eggs, and let's do that. And then we'll move on to making the omelette on this pan. Let's move this pan. Watch me carefully how I do the next step, because that's where the tricky part comes. So I have mixed in eggs and the potatoes that we just cooked. So the quantity depends on how many people you are making it for, just for yourself or for more than one. I'm making 4 eggs, so I cut up about 2 to 2.5 potatoes and added salt accordingly. So let's get started with omelette now. Again, add 2 teaspoons of olive oil to the pan. Coat the pan. This is a non-stick flat pan anyway, but we should still coat the pan. Not hot enough yet. That's how I check. I put my hand over it, and if I feel the heat, then it's hot enough. If not, then I let it sit for another minute. Now, I was talking about the tricky part. Once this omelette is cooking, because this has potatoes in it, flipping is tricky. It can break. So we are going to slide the entire thing on a plate and then flip the plate over here, and then that way it will cook. I'm going to try it, but if it breaks, it is still going to be tasty, so don't worry about that. The cooking flame, you should keep it at low, because eggs cook up very quickly, and the first side should cook for maybe 30 seconds to a minute before you flip it out. A little bit of spinach added to it. That's my breaking out of the usual boundary here, the Spanish tortilla boundary. It should be only potatoes and onions, but I have added spinach. Okay, let's slide. Okay, now this thing, that's the tricky part. There you go. Now if you see, this is the omelette. We will let the other side cook and settle. Maybe another minute and it will be all set, cooked nicely, and it will be ready to be served. We have made Spanish tortilla without boundaries. Eggs in gravy served over sliced bread. The sliced bread part, we all know we can just go ahead and buy it. We are not going to make it, but eggs in gravy part is what we are going to make right now. And it could be a good weekend lunch item when you want to have heavy lunch and go and nap, or it could be a good dinner item. So let's get started with eggs in gravy. For that, there's again two-step process. First, we will make the sauce base, and for that we saute a mix of ginger, garlic, onion, tomatoes together, and then a little bit of jalapeno pepper to add a little bit of spiciness to it. And after it is sauteed, slightly sauteed, we'll add a mix of cilantro and mint chopped leaves, and then we'll grind all of it together with almonds. So see how the creaminess comes, and the tomato makes the sauce base, and all of that grinded together will make a paste that we will use in the second step to make gravy. So let's get started with sauteing. 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. Coat the pan. I have sliced up 2 cloves of garlic. Just add it. 2 teaspoons of jalapeno pepper chopped. 2 tablespoons of ginger chopped. I can hear the sizzling sound. I'm sure you can too. And we'll add about 2 cups of chopped onion. This was one big red onion, so I cut it up. If you don't have it so much, or if you have white onion, or if you have a little bit left over and you want to use it up, all of that is okay. These are all suggestions. Your dish can always be built upon what I am suggesting here. So while that is getting sauteed, let me talk about eggs a little bit. Eggs, 1 large egg has about 75 calories, and out of that 5 grams of fat. Now, very good source of protein. It's considered actually in nutritional value second to mother's milk, so you can imagine how nutritional it is. Full of 13 vitamins and minerals. Out of those, some are vitamin A, vitamin D, potassium, phosphorus, folate, a lot of good things packed in 1 egg. So while we don't, I know that I don't eat eggs every day, but I try to keep a balance, and we all do. So whenever you are choosing to eat eggs, don't feel guilty. Make these easy, quick, and healthy and tasty dishes and have them. So onions are getting translucent and pink in color here. It's been a minute. We'll saute it for another 2 minutes and then add chopped tomatoes here. I have chopped 1 tomato, which comes out to be about 2 cups. So add tomatoes after 2 minutes, and then saute for another 2 minutes. And then we will grind it to a paste. We add half cup of almonds, which I soaked in water for about 15 minutes, and half cup of cilantro, half cup of chopped mint. Going on to the next step of eggs in gravy. We made a paste of, we first sauteed onion, ginger, garlic, tomatoes together, and then we added almonds and chopped cilantro and mint to it, and then we made a paste out of it. So we've made the paste. Now we will go ahead make the gravy for eggs. So about 1/4 cup of oil, because we have a lot of paste here. We don't want it sticking to this pot. This is a slightly rich dish, and that's why I'm suggesting that you could have it for a weekend dinner or a special dinner, or even some days when you just have this, it's okay to have it a little bit rich. So we're going to add the paste. So this is what the paste looks like. We keep the flame low to medium. We keep stirring it constantly because we don't want this getting stuck at the bottom and burn. In about 10 minutes of sauteing and cooking further, we add 2 cups of water to make it gravy-like consistency. Add a little bit first. Let the paste become thinner and loose. This is what it should look like. And then we add eggs here. And we add rest of the water. Mix it together very well. Lower the flame to low. We add salt as well as honey. Let it simmer with a lid, covered lid. Let it simmer for 2 minutes. We garnish it with chopped cilantro before serving. On to our third dish, egg and capsicum soup. Remember I told you capsicum is just another name for pepper. So I have heated here 2 cups of chicken broth. You can use broth of your choice. I've used chicken broth, and I've beaten 2 eggs with little bit of water in it, so about 2 tablespoons of water to thin it. And then I'll hold the pot here, lower the flame to low. So we'll slowly add eggs here and keep stirring the broth. And you see how eggs are making, solidifying there. And we'll stop at that. So we've essentially used 1.5 or maybe 1 egg. And add 2 teaspoons of vinegar, and this is about a cup of chopped different color peppers, so red and green. We add that. And we add salt to taste. There. Do you see the soup here? So this is your egg and capsicum soup, warm and very tasty on a cold day. So did you know that if you drop an egg on floor, raw egg, and it breaks, what's the easiest way to clean it? What you do is pour a lot of salt on it and then wipe it off. Everything gets picked up. Another fun fact about eggs is how do you differentiate between a raw egg and a cooked egg? They both look the same color. So a raw egg will wobble if you put it on the counter, and a cooked egg will spin if you try to spin it, whereas the raw egg will wobble. How do you differentiate between a fresh egg and an old egg? Fresh egg will sink in water while the old egg will stand up in water. So there you have some ways to differentiate between different kinds of eggs. Now we are going on to our last dish, veggie stir fry with eggs. So to start, we add about a tablespoon of cooking oil to our pan, which is already warmed up. We have half cup of thinly sliced carrots, half cup of thinly sliced onion, and maybe a tablespoon of ginger juliennes. Add those. And make sure for stir fry your flame is medium, because it does require a little bit of higher flame than other dishes that we make. There. While it is getting done, we'll add, I just happen to have some snap peas, so I am adding that, as well as some sliced red pepper. Whatever you have in the fridge, use it all to make your stir fry, veggie stir fry. So a minute of stirring and sauteing onion, carrots and a little bit of ginger here, and we then add, I can see the onion caramelizing here. Another 30 seconds we'll add other stuff to it. It is so colorful. That tells you how nutritious and how tasty this dish is going to be. We added capsicum, red pepper, and we added snap peas, and we will let it cook and get sauteed for another minute, and then we'll add some fresh spinach leaves and another minute to make the leaves wilt, and it'll be ready. Quarter teaspoon of salt and a pinch of black pepper. Since it is done, so we are going to switch off the stove, transfer it to a platter, and then add egg halves to it. It looks so beautiful. This will make a great salad also for lunchtime. Let's add eggs to it, one at a time. I have just make halves of boiled eggs, and that's it. We add some salt because we didn't add anything to the eggs, and some freshly crushed black pepper to just eggs. That's it. We are done. This is the veggie stir fry with eggs. So we are done with today's cooking session. We took egg, which is a very common thing to find in almost every home, and we made 4 dishes out of using eggs. We made some breakfast item, lunch items, appetizer item, dinner item, soup item, cold days, warm days, doesn't matter. We broke all of those boundaries and we used eggs in Spanish tortilla without boundaries. So we added spinach there. We made veggie stir fry with eggs. We made eggs in gravy, and we can use this to serve over sliced bread. And we made egg and capsicum soup. Capsicum is another name for pepper. All of these were made using fresh ingredients and ingredients that I had at my home. In fact, this morning I was tempted to go and get brown eggs just to show you, and then I said no. That's the very basic idea of my show, that I want to do with what I have at home, and that's exactly what we did. Again, I had fun and I hope you did too. Any question, concern, write to me at reema@sharontv.com or call me at 617-504-5136. I love hearing from you. Look forward to seeing you again. Until next time, happy cooking without boundaries.